Okay, we're talking about quadratic formula. The red formula there is the quadratic formula, and I can use it on an equation like this. Oops, my squared moved. Okay, there. But if your equation isn't set to be, for instance, solved for 0, you would have to solve it and get it equal to 0. So for instance, in this case, add x squared to both sides, and I'd have 0 equals x squared plus 6x plus 1. So again, if it starts out like this, you need to get your equation set in general form, so it's set equal to 0 like this. All right, now I'm going to take my a, b, and c from that equation and put them into the quadratic formula. This thing is really handy for when your equation can't factor. Like this one, I cannot factor this equation, and therefore it would be very difficult to get my answers unless I graphed it. Graphing would work also, but you get weird decimal answers. So the quadratic formula is a great example of a way to solve this problem. All right, so I'm going to do x equals negative b. Well, that's the b term, so negative 6 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's 36, minus 4 times a times c. I'm always careful in there because a lot of kids make their mistakes in that area underneath the square root. All over 2a. And a in this equation is 1. Notice there's no 1 there, but I could put a 1 there if I wanted to. So now I've got 2 times 1, which is 2 and above. Now for AC, this is where A goes, and A is 1, and this is where C goes, and C, from my equation here, is also 1. So this leads me to x equals negative 6 plus or minus the square root of 36 minus 4 all over 2. And I'm going to simplify that 36 minus 4 to 32. Now hopefully you've learned how to simplify your radical expressions. That part right there is root 16 times root 2, and that's 4 root 2. So now I'm going to rewrite it again. X equals negative 6 plus or minus 4 root 2 all over 2. And then that and that and that all have a 2 in them. And so I recommend that you reduce that. 2 goes in here 3 times, 2 goes in here twice, and 2 goes in here once. Negative 3 plus or minus the 2 square roots of 2. All right, and now, if I remember correctly, the square root of 2 is about 1.4. So if I want to get a decimal for it, I can proceed. But this is the answer in simplest radical form. It is the roots, the zeros, the x-intercepts. They just aren't nice. They aren't decimals yet because I haven't figured out what the square root of 2 is. So I'm going to continue as if I wanted the decimal answers. Negative 3 plus and minus 2 times 1.4, which means x equals negative 3 plus and minus 2.8. And then I do the problem twice. Once with x equals negative 3 plus 2.8, and then once with x equals negative 3 minus 2.8, and I get 2 different answers. This one gives me 0.2, I'm rounding here, and this one gives me x equals negative 5.8, and again, a rounded answer. So those are my 2 roots, my x-intercepts, etc. So if I were to graph it, it would have gone through 0.2 and negative 5.8. It's going to be a parabola that would look something like that. And I've now found the roots, the zeros, etc., by using the quadratic formula. Have a great day.